That shit was tripping.
Once self-sufficient families were now reliant on government assistance. Well, Terrence's family was no different, especially with all them dang kids to support. So at just 7 years old, Terrence was moved from the middle-class Gert town to the infamous Callio projects.
This is
This was a totally different environment, but at first, Terrence was just fascinated by life in the project.
Whenever you hear they went to the project,
There's no life change drastically.
Real.
They went to a real project. They turned into a project.
But it thousands and thousands of jobs, all within a few years span. More complicated. Terrence had 23 siblings growing up, which pretty much made it impossible to have a proper nurturing and supervision as well. To make matters worse, he rarely recalls his father ever being around.
Because I don't remember when I was, from a baby, but I remember my father being around, but not for a long time. So, but for the most part, mom's always been my mother.
And because of this, Terrence spent most of his early years roaming around the neighborhood by himself and sometimes even dabbling in crime.
My mother going to work, she worked at the church.
So got bad at this point.
So I don't have a father here every day, so I can just rip and run, do what I want. Man, actually, that's when I first learned how to steal out of A&P store too, back in the Gert town.
Well, despite the family situation and maybe being a little devious as a kid, life for Terrence was pretty good in the neighborhood. The neighbors looked out for him, and there was really never any concerns of violence. He was just another regular middle-class kid in New Orleans who was living a pretty good childhood. However, from his birth year of 1974 to the early 80s, New Orleans was changing very, very rapidly. By 1980, nearly every oil company in Louisiana had left for Houston, Texas. Anti-business and corrupt politicians led the companies to a state where the environment was much, much better. So with dozens of massive companies leaving, so did thousands and thousands of jobs, all within a few years span. So just like that, New Orleans had lost its biggest industry and 20% of its population. As a result of this, many low to middle class income families could no longer afford their mortgage and were forced to abandon their house. Banks took over foreclosures all over the city, and once self-sufficient families were now reliant on government assistance. Well, Terrence's family was no different, especially with all them dang kids to support. So at just 7 years old, Terrence was moved from the middle class Gert town to the infamous Callio projects.
Every year project, bro.
This was a totally different environment, but at first, Terrence was just fascinated by life in the projects.
I would sit in the window because I was infatuated with the project, how everything was set up. And
he was watching it all happen.
At first, it just seemed like a fun place to be, but then he was hit with reality.
Callio project, that's when I witnessed selling, murder. So it's like you come from one spot that was cool, laid back, just a regular environment, to now it's like, okay, these little children here are more fast, advanced, like you stepped into a different time zone.
Little Terrence had to adapt quickly to his new neighborhood, and at 8 years old, he witnessed something that no kid should ever see.
We stayed on Thalia while the raid ran. And when I would come to the cut,
these
which is
little
the young boy around my age,
killers,
around my height, I don't know if he was maybe a year or two older than me, but he would always give me a few dollars too.
Nowadays, it's even worse.
I remember one day, man,
Oh no,
the
you
police
keep
was out
doing
there.
stupid
Oh
stuff.
no, you keep doing stupid stuff.
He got killed back in the driveway.
Putting it all out.
To see stuff like that, you're like, man, this stuff real back here, and I was young.
Seeing a friend die in this fashion has a lasting traumatic effect, especially on a child with a developing brain. And without the proper therapy and adult intervention, such trauma lingering on the mind can result in horrible, horrible outcomes. In fact, the biggest commonality amongst adult criminals is unresolved childhood trauma. Psychologists will tell you how vital it is to have professional intervention, which sadly Terrence did not have available. With the lack of resources in the projects and so many siblings in the house, Terrence pretty much had to bottle it up all inside. So because
That's true, man.
That's true,
got all
man.
these
You got
siblings.
these kids, you got all these siblings. There ain't no way you could get to them and see what's really
I
going
barely
on.
know what's going on with my little brother.
I barely know what's going on with my little
Kids
brother.
barely even talk, so
Kids barely even
23
talk. So,
kids. That's
23 kids,
No
bro.
way
That's
he
crazy. Ain't no way he getting the attention he really needs.
That's how it happened.
That's how it be happening, man.
Having all
These
these
women be just having all these kids.
Dad
and
not
stuff.
around, they don't
Dad
care.
not around, they don't
Kid
care.
can't raise himself.
Kid can't raise himself.
Especially
You know
around a
what I'm
whole
saying?
lot of ignorance.
Especially around a whole lot of ignorance and people that just don't care. You know, truly care about the situation. People that focus too much
Because
on
of this
themselves.
moment and overall life in the projects, he was forced to grow up way faster than he should have.
To see stuff like that, you like, man, it's the real back here. And I was young, that age. So,
Yeah,
of course, I was aware now that
8 years old.
even little
Damn.
youngsters could get killed. So that put me on point to, okay, like I said, I wasn't in the streets then, but I was like getting prepared for it, watching it. And like, you know, as a youngster, you see somebody else doing it, so in your mind, you're like, okay, I want to try that too. Okay, I want to try that too. Okay, I want to try that too.
Like I said,
I
the
wanna
adverse
try-
effects of
The way
lingering
they
trauma
slow
is a
that-
dangerous,
the way they
dangerous
slow
thought.
that
This
down.
is why
Try that
community
too. I wanna
resources
try
are
that
so
too.
important, especially in impoverished
damn,
communities.
niggas coming
Because
straight
while rich
killers.
kids go to a therapist after they lose a soccer game, poor kids tend to hold a whole lot of weight on their
Facts.
shoulders. Well, from here, Terrence
On no therapist.
You ain't got no
Worse,
therapist.
way worse.
Our stuff way
Friend get
worse.
killed, you can't go
See your
talk to
friend get
somebody
killed, you
about
can't
that.
go talk to somebody
Ain't no other
about
thing
that.
to do except
Ain't no
splurge,
other thing to
boy.
do
At
except
that age.
splurge, boy. Especially at that age.
he had no
What you
choice but
expect?
to
So you
adapt
gotta-
to living life in the
No, so
Callio
you gotta-
projects.
As older
As-
men, we gotta be.
As older men, we gotta be talking to these kids,
Big
man, because they dealing with so much on the down low and
Probably
going through so much stuff we probably don't even know. You know what I'm saying? So
you know,
And during this year,
Doing
New
these
Orleans
kids,
saw 233
lead to-
homicides,
right to the
making it by
lead
far
to-
America's
right to the
murder capital.
penitentiary, right
This
to
is
death.
statistically the equivalent of New York City having 4,000 murders a year when they typically average about 350. I can't express how unfathomably bad New Orleans was during this time, and most of it was taking place in these various projects. Well, because of this increasingly bad environment, Terrence's family decided to move once again.
Do you like having a P.O. box but are
yeah, I got
tired
a
of
battle
wasting
there.
time and money
I got a
driving to the
battle
post office?
At 10 years old, Terrence's family moved from the projects to a house on Phillip Street. Kind of like Town, this area was still somewhat middle class and definitely much better than the Callio projects. It was still somewhat dangerous, but it was definitely a much improved place for Terrence to grow up. Regardless though, violence would still make an appearance in his life, but this time in the strangest way possible. So let me explain. The year is 1986 and Terrence is 11 years old.
dang.
He's
Hold
flunking
on.
out of school, he has no
Hold on, little man is.
hold on, little
up
man
and
is
up and about. Hold on.
up and about. Hold on. Opposite door, use my gun for a taser. Oh, I'm back.
Had to go.
I just had to
Little
go.
man will go. Hold on.
Little man will go. Hold on. Let's get back to this.
goals or aspirations,
pretty
and he's
good,
becoming
bro.
known as
2
the
hours,
Pretty
though.
good, bro. 2 hours, though.
Nice.
So I'm
Last
taking a
clown
long
in the
time.
area.
I got kept back. I got held back in first grade
Let's just see how it all started for
Let's
him.
just see how it all
Third
started.
grade.
For
Got held back.
and in fifth grade.
got held back.
Because I always was it's like I just always wanted to be the class clown, Joe Custom. teacher
Yeah,
out.
held back 3 grades.
So
Got
I've
held back
always
3
been like
grades.
that.
On top of this, he has no positive male influence in his life to guide him in the right direction. Instead, he has a mythical creature in his mind, a teenager who everyone looks up to in the area. This would be his older brother, Brian Baby Williams, who he had little to no memories of growing up. Baby was just one of his 23 siblings who bounced around
That's
from house
crazy.
to house as a kid,
That's
rarely
crazy.
overlapping with Terrence. But despite their lack of relationship, he definitely looked up to his older brother, especially after knowing his reputation. At this time, Baby was only 16, but already a young street millionaire. He had the cars, the jewelry, the women, and much admiration from the whole uptown community. Because of this, little Terrence was eager to meet his older brother and was hoping to impress him as any little kid would. Well, that
Damn.
opportunity would finally come.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
So that's how it happened.
Press his brother
He
so
wanted to
bad.
impress his brother so bad.
No, he did whatever
You
he
already
could to
know
probably
he
get
did
initial.
whatever he could to probably get initialized, you know.
Once he probably got in, doing all
Once
this
he
stuff.
probably got in and doing all this stuff, he probably realized, damn, what am I doing?
Telling it all.
Yeah,
Tom,
telling it
but
all.
not in the way he
Crazy.
ever expected. And here is where the story takes a crazy,
Probably
Yeah, see,
massive
he
hitman.
probably one of them
Real.
massive hitman. or
unexpected
something for
turn.
real.
Yes, 1985.
Crazy.
My mother's phone
Let's
rang.
see what's up.
Phone rang in the kitchen. I answer it. It's Baby on the other. Be around there. Come outside when you hit a horn. All right.
An 11-year-old Terrence is so excited that his older brother is finally coming around. So for over an hour, he sits by the window waiting for his brother to honk the horn. And then he finally sees what he was waiting for. A brand new SUV blasting music rolls up the street. Terrence is geeked, so he instantly hops up and sprints outside to the car. There he sees his brother behind the wheel, no one in the passenger seat, and a whole lot of girls in the back. That's when Big Bro tells him to hop in the car, and this is like a dream come true.
So now we got
For
this
real.
nice fancy
Yeah.
car with the rag top,
Yeah.
nice little rims on it. So you young, you like, wow, this.
So little Terrence hops in the passenger seat, but this is when things take a left turn.
Jump in the car with him. First thing happens, a gun in the back of my head. I'm like, whoa.
But
What is going on? Terrence is so confused, but that's when he's given an explanation.
He said, never jump in the car if somebody in that back seat. When you jump in the car, you gotta be aware who in that back seat because you might not make it out. That might be.
bro, he hopped right into an
Bro, he
initiation.
hopped right
Ain't no
into
way.
an initiation. Ain't no way.
Bro pulled up with an initiation.
Bro pulled
Hey,
up with
get
an
in.
initiate. Hey,
Nigga
get
right
in.
into.
Nigga right into.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that's
The last
crazy.
time in that front seat.
This is a strange and puzzling interaction to say
That's
the least.
funny.
I kind of understand
That's
the lesson he
funny.
was teaching, but why would an 11-year-old
The
boy
first
need to learn
time.
this?
The
Was he
first
simply
time.
preparing him for surviving in the streets of New Orleans, or was he preparing him for an
Okay.
actual life in the streets?
I guess.
Well, here's your answer. The next time his brother would come around, he would ask him to hop in the car once again.
And then this one
This
night,
nigga's
man,
like
I'll never forget that.
devil.
This nigga's like
Going
devil.
around with a new opportunity
Coming
every
around
time.
with a new opportunity every time. Hey, come on, Jay.
That's on
Come on, Jay. I got something for you.
Get your good luck.
Something for you.
$10,
Get your
$20.
good luck.
Yeah,
$10, $20 right
Yeah,
here,
it's
Jay.
crazy.
Damn, it's crazy.
Showed me this. It was a 22. You ready to use this?
Now, with the blick in his hands for the first time, Terrence is ready to do whatever he has to do.
And by that being, yeah, you know, because I'm happy to be around him. So we go up, Philip, turn left on Magnolia, turn another left on First.
He telling
Get back
a
on
whole
Robert.
He
location.
telling a whole
Walk past
location.
Jackson Avenue, and he pointed this
Okay, he
young
told
man.
it
Oh
all.
my God, he told it all.
Told me to shoot him. So I was like, give it up, I jumped out.
To kill her. That's crazy.
If you're looking to get a degree in IT or cybersecurity, UMGC is waiving their application fee through May 31st.
Wait,
You
okay.
can imagine
And I was supposed to run back to the car, but I ran off back to the house. I went through this little cut through the alley.
Little Terrence had just committed the biggest sin, but there was only one thing on his mind.
I did it, and I hope I made him happy. I'm hoping Big Bro is happy. And I pulled off this crime.
I'll never let my
Not
little
only
brother.
in
I'll
Bosa,
never let my
I
little
never had my
brother-
little brother.
I never had my little brother do something like that. He ain't know me. I don't care.
Importantly,
How much money-
I didn't run my mouth, and I took the little 22 and put it under the old sofa. I used to sleep in the living room. My mind was on Big Bro being happy with me, and I know now I'm about to get me some fresh British Knights was jumping back then. British Knights, Felines.
Some fresh clothes.
Doing those
Some
shoes.
fresh
I'm like,
clothes.
Oh my god. Bro.
Oh
That's how
my
they do it.
gosh, bro. That's how they do
Little
it.
Louis
Gonna get you a
belt.
little Louis
need something
in
fresh
his
to put
belt.
on.
Bro, that clothes don't mean nothing.
Bro,
when
that
you going
clothes
to
don't
jail,
mean
bro.
nothing when you going to jail, bro. I didn't see
You
it
have
all.
beamers, all type of
You
stuff.
just have
Bro.
beamers,
Them
all
cops
type of
got
stuff,
you.
bro. So
Oh,
them
you got
cops
your
got
head
you,
down to the
and
ground.
You got your
crying.
head down to the ground, crying.
All over, bro. That
You know, it's all
So
over,
Terrence
bro.
patiently waited at the house
money
for
don't
Big Bro to
matter,
come
bro.
back around. And a few days later, there he would come.
A few days later, he would come around. You all right? Check on right. Big knot of money. You put this, you hide this. I would hide in my mother's house for him.
After days and weeks go by, Terrence is stuck on a particular mindset.
I thought I was tough. I thought I was bad. I just thought I was just a little bad. You know, I was a little bad little boy, and I just, you know, wanted to prove a point to people that I'm tough too. I'm tough too.
Well, not only was he feeling tough, but he was also feeling respected by his family. But was that really the case? You'll see. 2 weeks after this tragic incident, another older brother of Terrence would swing by the house. This would be Ronald Slim Williams, the eldest brother and the richest as well. Although Slim wasn't the best looking guy, he was the street and financial mastermind of
Slim.
the entire family. According to
Slim.
Terrence, Slim was
Slim
not a
looked
bad guy
shady
at
as
all.
hell.
Slim
He was
looked
definitely
shady
all
as
about
hell,
Benjamin.
boy.
Well, here's what he came to do.
His eyes, look, you do not
His
trust
eyes,
that.
look, you
See his
do not
eyes,
trust
do
that.
not
You
trust
see his
him.
eyes, you do not trust
Come
him.
around.
Ain't no way.
With a white guy
Ain't
in the
no
car.
way.
I signed some papers. I would later in years find out that that was insurance man. So it's like if we messed up or if I fronted somebody dope, they fronted somebody dope and they didn't pay the dope back or didn't pay. Okay, when I get killed, they go get insurance money. You know?
At the time, Terrence had no perspective on what was really going on. All he thought was that his brothers were showing him love. He was pretty much doing anything they asked, just in the idea that he was making them happy. Well, sadly, it wouldn't be till much later in life when he realized that the family situation was not one of love.
I would.
Usually how it go, man.
It's usually
You
how
don't
it
know
go,
this
man.
year-
You don't
years,
know this
years
till
later,
years-
especially
years later,
bro.
especially something like that, bro.
You ain't
Like,
see 2 years later.
you
though,
ain't gonna
like,
see 2 years later the effect.
Later on down the line when I got to prison, start reflecting back on them, like, man, what? Oh yeah, they play me like that, you know. But you know, as a youngster, you just happy you got big brothers that's talking the right talk. You know, they there for you, buy you a nice pair of tennis shoes, a nice little polo shirt for school, and
Yeah, see, he feel good because
Yeah, see,
he had to
feel
watch his
good
best
'cause,
friend
man,
die.
He had to watch his best friend
eight.
die.
He had
He was
nobody
8.
to talk to,
He had
nothing.
nobody
right?
to talk to, nothing.
Even though his big
right?
brother was
Even though his big brother
alive back then,
was
he wasn't nowhere to be
alive
found.
back then, he wasn't nowhere to
He
be
wasn't even
found.
nowhere to be
you feel me?
found when his
He
little
wasn't even
homie.
nowhere to be found when his little homie died. And
Now he feel
You
you
good.
happy.
now he
He
feel
around,
good
but
'cause
Killing,
he around,
killing
but
people, you
killing,
a lot of
you killing people, you drumming bodies, doing stuff you should
Just
be
to be
doing.
around people. Happy.
Just to be around people and be happy. That's
This
it.
is a lot to take in, so let's take a moment to pause and really think about everything. Here you have a middle school aged boy who has unresolved trauma and the lack of a father figure in his life. All he's ever known is his immediate surroundings, so he really has no perspective that anything he's doing is wrong. In his own mind, he rationalizes it as, I just wanted to be bad, but we really know that it's much deeper than that. In fact, psychologists will tell you that no child is ever born bad, and that most people are simply just products of their environment. Well, if we're being honest, Terrence was headed down a terrible path, and the only thing that could potentially save him would be to have a better environment. So, what happens from here? Well, sadly, at the age of 12, his home environment would somehow get much worse. This is when Terrence's mother would engage in a relationship with a new boyfriend who had the potential to step up for little T as a father. However, this man was hardly a role model. Well, at least not a good one. In fact, he was possibly the worst influence that Terrence could ever have. So let me explain. His stepfather was not a gangster by any means. In fact, he was a well-respected musician.
No, he was cool. He played the saxophone in the little jazz band he was in.
Not only was he not a gangster, but he also really wasn't even a bad guy.
But he was never one of those disrespectful, grouchy, angry stepfathers. He was one of them smooth, laid-back, player type. He was one of the ones, like, he never put his hand on my mother. He, tall, masculine, nice, and he played that saxophone. He had, matter of fact, he had a perm.
So you might be thinking, why would this guy be a bad influence? He sounds like a pretty solid dude. Well, that's only because you don't know the darker side. The man had his own struggles and addictions, and he used his now stepson to be a vessel to get him his fix.
He would give me money to go around second and down.
Yeah.
Do you get my message?
What's up?
Do you care if I go to the farmer's market and Sprouts real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be there by the time the farmer's market opens, so I'll be home even sooner.
Okay, that's cool.
Just do me a favor, see like what little things we need in the fridge, because I have to keep it sharp before I left.
Hold on, I'm live streaming right now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I still got a ways to get there.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Alright, bye.
Down near this hood, I started hanging around anyway to go buy for him. And once again, I'm like, okay, this is something cool, I'm gonna go handle this for him, even though I'm young. Because in my mind, I'm thinking he's scared to go. Somebody might rob or jack him, so I got this. Give it here, and I will go get it.
Bro, these ass is crazy.
Bro, these ass is crazy.
I'm gonna have to get his little ass.
I'm gonna have to get his little ass.
A lot of people would sit back and they'll watch certain children. They'll be like, okay, that one I could use. That one is scary. That one, no, you can't do that one. That might run his mouth. So, older people, they sit back and watch children who they feel that they can use, as their little foot soldiers or whatever.
So just like with his older brothers, Terrence was being used by his authority once again. The people who were supposed to look out for him and have his best interests were failing him all the time. However, he wasn't able to see it this way, and this is how he entered his next chapter in the streets. After doing these daily runs for his stepfather,
watch out for them users.
Relationships with the
Using the
hustlers.
abusers.
So he started hanging with a man named Ernest who would post up on 2nd and Daniil, a major money block in Uptown. But initially, Terrence had no intentions of hustling because for whatever reason it scared him more than anything else. Regardless though, he was still all in on the street life and all he wanted to do was be bad. To this point in his street life, Terrence had only hung around and done things for older people, never anyone his age. But at the age of 13, this would finally change, so let me explain. While at school, Terrence met a girl named Chantel who he ended up forming a close friendship with, if that's what you want to call it. And Chantel so happened to live in the infamous Magnolia Projects.
Chantel Red. I think I want to say Chantel had the little Jerry curl back then, little hairstyle. Mother beautiful, mother real cool. They lived in the Magnolia Project on Ferret Street, but her and I never messed around, if that what you asking.
Yeah, okay, but well, as their friendship grew, Terrence started going over to a neighborhood after school.
Sometimes when I go down to school, I would go to the
being
bad. I would hang over there with her. Even sometimes we hang out.
This is how Terrence started meeting people in Magnolia, and it pretty much became his second home. They accepted him and it felt like a real community, so he pretty much hung out there every single day. This doesn't matter quite yet, but it definitely will in the future. Well, in the meantime, Chantel would get a new boyfriend who she would also bring over to the Magnolia Projects. Although her and Terrence were just friends, Terrence was definitely not a fan of her new boyfriend.
That's when Chantel got the boyfriend Mosquito. So he started coming back there. I didn't like him at first because he was kind of arrogant. He would get on that bike. He had a bicycle, black handlebars, straight across handlebars.
I ain't like him.
Kind of bike back then.
I ain't like him.
In the neighborhood. But he would get on one wheel and just ride for blocks. And one day his mother bought him a gold tee, one solid gold tee on the side. And I was cutting class. I seen him and I was like, I said, let me see. He's like, nah, stop jocking. And kept walking. I'm like, what do we think he is? You know, I just didn't like him, man. Then him and Chantel started going together.
Mosquito was cool, arrogant, and had a lot of money, and clearly Terrence was not a fan. But being that they were now hanging out in the same circles in the Magnolia projects, they were...
Man, how y'all feeling about this documentary?
Man, how y'all feeling about this documentary so far?
Yeah, how y'all feeling about this documentary so
How y'all
far,
feeling
bro?
about this documentary so far, bro? It's pretty crazy.
It's not too far from.
It's not too far from the normal stories, but
this for sure got a lot of depth.
This for sure got a lot of depth, and a 2-hour documentary. I think it's gonna be pretty good. See something.
I ain't watching.
Of course, I ain't watching the whole 2 hours on here. Just too much.
Oh, we just getting started.
We just getting started. It's not even that far into this song. We gonna keep it going.
bound to have to speak.
Like I said, I would always go in the project by her house, and he started coming over there. So, you know, we would talk because I was already familiar with him through my best friend,
Go
Rodney.
ahead, follow the
After
channel.
David
If you
Go ahead, follow the channel.
videos, I'm be
figured
doing a
out
lot
that they were
more.
pretty much-
Videos, I'm be doing a
A
lot
lot
more.
more videos like this.
Show a lot more videos like this.
Stuff for sure.
All types of different stuff for sure.
I'll be on your
So,
gaming, make
I'll be on here
music.
gaming, make music, all types of stuff. So yeah, just come check us out.
Turn this up a lot
That's how
more.
we had
Let's
met,
turn it up
because
a lot
like at
more.
nighttime,
Full-time streamer.
when it was time to go
Full-time
home,
streamer.
Creator.
walked the same way because, like I say, we walked. I lived on Phillip between Robinson and Magnolia. He lived on Willow Street between Jackson and Josephine. So, you know, we had to go the same way home. You know, that's how him and I had got cool. We started hanging out together.
So through the strangest circumstances, Mosquito and Terrence became really close friends.
Mosquito.
They quickly found
Look
out
like
that they were
Mosquito.
extremely similar,
Look like
but
Mosquito.
together they were pretty much down to do anything bad. They were both running wild, and way over violent for their age.
Are you
Always
hearing me
want to do
twice?
something like
Are you hearing me twice?
Always.
Alright, thanks for letting me know.
wanna rob
Thanks for
something,
letting
wanna
me know.
jack, kill.
Hearing me like
Hear me twice. Let me see. I got that.
down. Yeah.
Down.
Alright, right. Alright, how about now? Is that better? Hopefully that fixed it. Thing is, my video capture was picking up audio too, so that should have fixed it.
He was one of the ones that was. I don't like.
Thanks for letting me know, though. I appreciate
Like,
that.
Mosquito, let's go. Like, it was never one of those. He was never one of the
Shout out
ones
on
that'd be like,
double audio.
"Oh, hold up, now I don't think." It was always on go, let's do it. Oh, you got it, let's go. You know, he was never chill, but people liked him too. You know, but when it was turn up, that was Mosquito. When it was turn up,
That was Mosquito. He about to bite
This
your
was
ass.
bad news,
Like-
as the duo was now trying to prove who could be the worst. It's like when the teacher would accidentally
thank
put
you,
the
thank
two
you.
class clowns together and all hell would break loose. Well, although they were
And
only
time
13,
to turn
they
up,
were
Mosquito
both
about to
already
bite,
financially
boy.
independent. On one hand, Terrence was scraping by doing whatever little petty crimes, and Mosquito was posted up moving weight on 2nd and Denial.
We wanted to use Premiere to create a prose-based visual montage.
Mosquito life
Because
as
of
a
this,
hustler.
Mosquito started having a bunch of cash and gold grills in his mouth. At this time in New Orleans, having gold grills was so important, like it was your ticket to getting all of the girls. So naturally, Terrence wanted this as well, except he was not down to sell you-know-what. For whatever reason, it was just something that he never wanted to do, no matter how easy the money could be. But he still really wanted gold grills, so here's what he would do.
The pecan pie that come in those aluminum ashtrays in the pack. Well, Popeye had the gold ashtrays back then, so we would go there, steal the ashtrays from Popeyes, get the scissors, cut the little circle bottom part out, so now you got a round little circle. So from there, you could design your gold teeth. Like you could put a diamond in there, heart shape, your initials. You could do a little something with it, right? So I had 4 gold in my mouth.
Boom, problem solved. All he had to do was wear fake gold. But then his genius solution would be exposed.
Oh no!
It's a lunchtime.
Of course he's gonna be exposed, bro. You
3
better
girls
hope
in
your
front
teeth
me.
don't
Back
turn
in if you-
different color. Ain't no way.
You had gold teeth in your mouth, a teenager, you were the stuff, you got the attention.
Oh my god.
Then I'm
Yeah,
talking to
because
these
of
girls.
that.
I don't know what got this girl. First of all, I still can't figure how I let her pull that off that fast. But this girl took her hand, and she was so infatuated because she the only one just mesmerized about my gold teeth looking at my mouth. The other girls was just plain and cool. She touched the gold teeth and fell and hit the ground. I looked, and I just took out running and laughed at me because they realized that they were fake.
So yeah, even in middle
my
school, there was a
gosh.
lot of pressure to have
What
money
was
in
he
New Orleans,
thinking?
and that's why Mosquito hustled so hard. He would post up on 2nd and Denial all day to stack his money.
Mosquito was
Well,
out there
for
all
Terrence,
day and
even
night like a
after
real
this
mosquito,
embarrassing
boy.
incident, he
That's how you
still
gotta
didn't
do
want
it.
to move you-know-what. Sometimes he would hustle here and there,
Yeah,
but
that
mostly
money,
he
better be
was
out there
just
all
into
day and
being
night,
wrong.
ready to
You
bite.
could almost say that while
Yeah.
Mosquito was out and about hustling, Terrence was somewhere lurking
That's why he
around
had
for
that
his
name,
protection.
Mosquito.
Well, quickly, Mosquito started making a lot of money, and this made him a major target.
Oh, mosquito.
Playing an adult's game would come with adult consequences.
Mosquito
It's
was
a
biting
regular
too
hot
much.
summer night in 1988.
Mosquitoes bite
Mosquito
too
was
much.
outside waiting for
Know
customers.
what you gotta do.
This 2nd Street run like this way. Daniel run this way. So there's a building that we used to hang. There's a store on the corner, and it was an abandoned house where we would hang at. As I'm coming up the sidewalk, I hear some noise. It's nighttime. So when I
Hear
come
that
around,
noise,
the
boy,
guy
you better
is
get
choking
ready.
mosquito.
So that's when Terrence whips out and targets the robber.
Get him up off him. So, but I hit him and he let him go, and that was the whole purpose. So, man, mosquito ran off.
Thankfully, the guy was okay, but Terrence was feeling like the man for defending his friend.
I was 13.
13.
Mosquito
Still
Man was at
young,
14.
bro.
Well, this is when Terrence and Mosquito realized that
Man,
their
yeah,
lifestyle was
we out here
dangerous and
getting
they
to
needed
it.